Hi, I'm Maggie and welcome back to my channel. I have a little buddy with me today and I'm sure everybody knows who this is, Jessie from Toy Story. Today I'm going to talk about how me and my daughter went to go see the new Toy Story 5. This is my daughter's very first movie theater experience. You can see a picture, I'm going to put one right here of her, how cute she is sitting in the nice little reclining chair. She had the time of her life. She is 4.5. She did so stinking good. There were a few little times here and there where she was like, Mom, what's going on? Mom, there's Buzz, kind of like out loud on the screen. But we have just entered our obsession with the Toy Story era, which makes my heart so happy because I loved Toy Story growing up. In fact, she has Woody, the doll that I had growing up, the Woody one. So she's got my old one. This is new because I do have a 2-year-old that was like, I need one. I want Jessie. I want Jessie. So we got her this little Jessie. This one is full plastic. My Woody one is actually stuffed. Doesn't have a pull string, but it's like stuffed all the way around, like kind of the original Woody. But the plastic one, a lot nicer for a 2-year-old because they're rough on toys. So anyways, I surprisingly really loved Toy Story 5. So many people have been hating on it. I think it's one of like the lowest, now don't mark my words on this, I think it's one of the lowest rated Toy Story movies, which blows my mind. But here's why I think that is, okay? So stick with me here. The movie, the storyline behind the movie was not made for children, which is probably why it's so controversial. My girl loved it. She thought it was super fun and cute, but went home and not really understanding the storyline. Like she can't really tell you, she can tell you certain scenes that happened, but she can't really tell you what the movie's about. Here's why. Toy Story 5, the story behind it was made for the adults, was made for the parents. And it was so good. I still am thinking about it 2 days later, the story behind it. So if you plan on watching this movie with your kid, you haven't seen it yet, from this point on, I am going to give spoilers for the movie. So if you haven't seen it, please go stop the video, go watch it, and you can come back and see the rest of my opinion. But with that being said, before I jump in, I recommend that you do go and see it. It's a great movie, in my opinion. Now we're going to get the spoiler part. So the premise of the movie is that these kids around the world have become obsessed with being on electronics. So being on tablets, being on TV, our world has been consumed by that, which is so true. My life is consumed by that. We try to keep our kids from that as much as possible. Like neither one of my kids, they do have, they're not tablet kids. They don't ever get on tablets. But they do watch a lot of like movies and stuff like that, which I really need to do better at not letting them watch so much. But so that's what the kind of the beginning of the story is. It's really sad because all these toys are no longer being played with. All these kids don't know how to play with toys because their tablet has consumed their life and they no longer play with toys. And so you go through this whole story of how Bonnie, you know, the little girl that has the Toy Story toys now, wants to be part of the group, wants to make friends, but they all are on tablets. And to this point, Bonnie's parents have kept her from living the tablet world. She just had her toys to play with. Well, her parents eventually get her a tablet and she becomes consumed by it. And her parents become consumed by their electronics. And so it's showing that, and the parents had no restrictions on the tablet. The little girl played it from the moment she woke up to the moment she went to bed. The only time she didn't have it was to eat or when it was bedtime. That's what it was showing. And she became consumed by it. And then she tried to make friends through this tablet, and that eventually turns into online bullying, which that is like the scariest part about having our kids have any access to electronics, is the online bullying. Growing up, I was bullied online when I was younger. And yeah, it's a slippery slope, especially as parents, and buying your kids tablets and electronics and not putting boundaries on it is very, very dangerous. It's bad for their mental health. It can lead down a slippery slope of addiction. And so the premise of the story was, she tried to make friends through this tablet. She thought they were her friends, and then they made fun of her because she wanted to play with her toys. Well, then she started saying that she didn't want to play with her toys anymore. She was very sad, very depressed, very consumed by this tablet life. And long story short, she ends up connecting with a different girl who's a little bit older than her, but still plays with toys. And so in the end of the story, it talks, like, it's basically showing that you can have healthy boundaries with electronics, because let's be real, the generation that my children are growing up in is not the same generation that I had, and they're going to be exposed to electronics. And I'm okay with that, but they have to have boundaries that are healthy for them, put in place. So it shows like her and this other girl at the end are taking pictures on the tablet to have memories of the toys they're playing with. And yeah, so it's just like a healthy boundary with it. I loved the message in Toy Story 5. I think some parents didn't like it because it can rub you the wrong way to realize, like, oh man, like maybe your kids are a little too addicted to electronics, and you don't want that life for them. You want them to have imagination and creation. And some parents, that would probably rub the wrong way, but for me, it's just a reminder that to put those in place and to not make our kids grow up too fast. Let your kids be kids. My favorite scene in this entire movie that I literally cried about, because I'm a Toy Story girly. I grew up on Toy Story, okay, from a little kid. Y'all, there was a scene where Jessie goes back to the house that she had her first kid that played with her in. And there was this tire swing out by a tree. And you'll know it if you remember Toy Story 2. That is in that movie. And so it's in this movie at 5. And she goes out to the tire swing. She's upset because her kid doesn't want to play with her anymore, doesn't want to have her anymore. And she sees this box, and she sees this carving in the tree that says Jessie was here. And she's like, I don't remember this. They dig up this box. She opens it, and she's like, well, this couldn't have been for my kid, because my kid is too old. Like, these would all be very old. She pulls out a picture, and on the picture is a little girl and her mom. And on the back of the writing, it says something like, I will love you forever, Jessie. And all of a sudden you realize, and she makes the connection in the movie, that the little girl that was her first owner, or first kid that she played with, named her first baby girl, Jessie, after her. I about died. I literally about died. I cried during that scene. Ooh, so sweet. It was so sweet. So sweet. It just shows, like, when you have, like, the love of toys, you know what I mean? And I remember being a kid, and I remember watching Toy Story and believing when I was a little kid that when I wasn't looking, my toys were alive. I believed it. I mean, I would literally, like, kind of, like, try to peek my head in the door of my bedroom to see if I could see them talking and moving around and playing. Like, just the magic of being a little girl and being a little kid and believing these things and being so passionate about it and imagination. And oh man, I miss it, honestly. And I truly love being able to see my girls that way, being able to see my girls have imagination, being able to see my girls play with toys and build, like we're in the fort building stage and they're putting their toys in there, and now that they watch Toy Story, they're obsessed with it, so they're lining their toys up to watch Toy Story with them. And my little girl is like talking to them like they're real people and like they have friends with the toys, and it is so precious. It's so precious, and it is such an honor and a joy to watch our kids play with toys like we used to. So anyways, that movie gave me the feels, if you can't tell, hardcore, because man, such a good movie. So I want to add on here one of the controversial parts to it that a lot of people are in uproar about is the very end of the movie. Buzz and Jessie get married, and Buzz is wearing a kilt, which is fine, like super cool. I'm Scottish. My husband is Scottish. He has worn a kilt before. Just FYI. Nothing wrong with the kilt, okay? But they had him walk down the aisle to her. I think at one point he holds flowers. And so there's kind of a controversial thing there of like maybe Disney trying to push an agenda. And I'm just going to tell you that it didn't bother me at all. I think that just shows, one of the things that I see it from is not necessarily pushing agenda, but that kids are just playing with toys. And that's the scene. Okay, so the scene where Buzz and Jessie are getting married, the little girl is playing, the two little girls are playing with them in imagination. And so they're playing out the story like it's a real story, but it's them playing with the toys. And there's a lot of controversy about that because, oh, they had Buzz walk down the aisle. Oh, they made Buzz, more feminine and blah, blah, blah. Like, that wasn't the point. I don't think, and again, it is up to you what you think and what your kids watch or whatever. But honestly, it didn't bother me at all. I thought it just showed kids being like, a boy toy walking down the aisle would just be like, I could see my own kid doing that. Like, I don't know. I don't think that really matters in the end. And also, I just thought it was super cute. But in that scene where you see the wedding happening, they do refer to Buzz and Jessie as husband and wife. They don't refer to them in a weird way. There's not any agendas being pushed in my mind. Literally just kids being kids. So take that as you will. I know there's some parents that are a little, my brother is one of them. That's a little like, oh, why'd they have to do that? But honestly, it didn't really bother me. I thought it was pretty cute. Overall, love the movie. I think it's one of my faves now. Out of the Toy Story. That's so hard for me to say. As an adult, that's one of my favorites. As a kid, Toy Story 2 used to be my favorite. So, anyways, that is my review of Toy Story 5. Take it as you will. Create your own opinions. Go watch it with your kids. I loved it. Thought it was fantastic. And I will talk to y'all later. Bye.